So it seems that the injury bug that has been going around through so many teams this season has finally hit the Milan camp, and more injuries seem to pile up. And we're so down bad that we put TIJJANI in a midfield pivot with Fofana, and Teo was left on the bench once again. And I think we're at that point in the season where we're starting to learn a lot more about this team as the season progresses. And before we continue with this video, guys, make sure you check out Classic Football Shirts. They were so kind enough to send the guys over at Home of Milan these cool Milan-inspired holiday sweaters. And guys, if you use the code HOMEOFMILAN10 at checkout at classicfootballshirts.com, you get 10% off. So guys, what better Christmas gift to get your loved one than a classic football shirt jersey? So guys, make sure you check out Classic Football Shirts and use code HOMEOFMILAN10 at checkout to get 10% off. So guys, make sure you get that loved one a beautiful Christmas gift, and let's get back into the video. And I think point number one that has been a constant for these last couple games is that the defense is pretty nice so far. And Thiago and Gabia have been solid for these last couple games, and in their last 5, they've kept 4 clean sheets. And it's positive signs to see, because we saw in these last couple games where Milan were conceding goals and, we're so sloppy at the back, and now it seems that we're a lot more solidified in that back line. Of course, we still have trouble on the set pieces, I feel like, but regardless of the fact is, in open play, I feel like Thiago and Gabia have created a solid back duo, and I feel like the chemistry between them two is going forward in the most positive way. And I think another great thing that we saw in these last couple games was Jimenez can be relied upon. And in that Genoa match, personally, he was the only standout and the only positive thing in that game. And against this one in Hellas Verona, I think he was great. I think bombing up and down that left-hand side. And when Teo Hernandez came on, he's kind of playing like that left wing spot. And, he's kind of, really fluid going up and down and, left to right. And personally, I don't know if I like that, to be honest, because I think, keeping our shape is the most important thing. But regardless of the fact is, he gives shades of Teo a little bit. I think he was really effective going forward. He had a pretty good shot on goal that had to make a pretty big save from, I believe it's Montipo, the Hellas Verona goalkeeper. But I think there are a lot of shouts saying on Milan Twitter that Jimenez should be on that right back spot and Teo Hernandez should be on that left. And then our back line would be Teo on the left, Thiago Gabia, and Jimenez on the right. And I wouldn't hate that at all, because Emerson giving away that free corner kick to Hellas Verona, I was shaking, to be honest, because I was like, okay, it's clear that Hellas Verona are going to score after that, but they didn't. I think, why not experiment Alex Jimenez on that right back spot, because clearly Calabria and Emerson are not good enough. I've said that in constant videos before, and I think everybody has voiced their concerns about that. So why not put Alex Jimenez at that right back spot? And I think that we would be a lot more better going forward, and that transition between defense and attack, I think, would be a lot more balanced on both sides if Jimenez is on that right back spot. And I think something else that has been brewing in these last couple games for Milan, and something for this season that is really positive, is that Fofana and TIJJANI Reijnders are creating a formidable duo in that midfield. And Fofana up to 5 assists this season, and TIJJANI Reijnders up to 12 goals and assists in 16 games. And I don't think this is crazy to say, but I think TIJJANI Reijnders is the best midfielder in Serie A. I think he's the most effective and he's the most involved out of any of the players in this squad. And he always wants the ball and he always wants to be involved. And personally, I think this duo would be a great trio with either Tonali coming back, or we would invest in Samuel Ricci. And I think either one of those would be perfect. And you kind of see that this duo kind of needs to be a trio to make this midfield more balanced and to kind of circulate the ball a little bit better, because we saw how Ricci kind of plays these long balls, and we see how Fofana is such a great defensive presence in this midfield. Even Fofana's ball playing ability as well, and Reijnders to kind of create anything at will, make those runs going forward. And we saw this goal versus Genoa, how he was able to kind of make those line splitting runs, right, to go in between those lines. And what a finish that was from Reijnders, and the ball from Fofana was probably even a little bit better than the finish. But the fact of the matter is, these two are creating such a duo in the midfield that it's really the only positive thing that we can kind of see in this season for Milan. And something that really isn't positive to see is Tammy Abraham and Morata are so underwhelming this season, and they're clearly not good enough to beat Milan players. And me personally, I've never really liked Tammy Abraham. I think he offers nothing. I label him as the next Lukaku or Lukaku 2.0 because we haven't seen him play at a top level like we saw at the beginning of the season, versus Lazio in that one game. And then, a couple moments after that. And since then, we really haven't seen him in a good run of form. And I don't know if it's because of, the inconsistencies of lack of playing time. I'm not really sure. But even Morata never really picked up a decent run of form. He's shown bits and glimpses of what he can offer, but that's not really saying much. And I think investment is needed. We've been linked with the Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord in the Eredivisie, and to be completely honest, even that doesn't really convince me at all as a fan, because even in the Eredivisie, I feel like Santiago Jimenez isn't really that lethal goal scorer that we need. And to kind of throw Francesco Camarda into this, he's our third string striker, and to be completely honest, I wouldn't hate giving Camarda a run of starts because, to be completely honest, every time Camarda is in, he kind of offers that little something, or, he kind of brings that little spark that this team needs. And when he's come on in the Champions League, he got credited with that assist, but don't really think it's an assist. But regardless of the fact is, he created that chance for us to score the winning goal, essentially. And going forward, the development of Francesco Camarda, I feel like, is in the right direction. I mean, we have to remember that he's only 16, and to be completely honest, I think what we can really do going forward for the best for him is just keep giving him minutes. And I think, giving him 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, and I think, why not? I think the best thing that we can do, at least give him a start. I think that would be pretty good to kind of see what he can do at like the beginning of the game. I think I really like how he drags defenders and kind of, makes these runs into, different spots to kind of get open. And I feel like we're not seeing that from Tammy and Morata, just them not linking up play, not getting involved. And I feel like Camarda wants to get into that action. So why not? I'd love to see Camarda in the future. And I think something that's been concerning a lot of fans is the development of Samuel Chuckweze, and it's really underwhelming what he's been offering in these last couple games. Right, against Genoa, it was just so uninspiring. I feel like all he was doing was trying to cross, not really doing anything dangerous. And I mean, he got subbed out for a reason, and I don't blame Fonseca for subbing him out because it's just not good enough. And you see with the absence of Pulisic how difference the level is from Pulisic and Chuckweze. And there was that whole debate of should Chuckweze be given a chance. To be completely honest, we kind of get and understand why Pulisic is the designated starter, because of what he offers, and Chuckweze doesn't offer even 10% of what Pulisic brings. And to be completely honest, I think there needs to be conversations of where Chuckweze's future is headed for Milan. And to be completely honest, I wouldn't rule out the fact of Chuckweze getting sold either in January or in the summertime. And at this point, cash in on Chuckweze while we can. We dropped a good chunk of change for Chuckweze. And I don't know if that's because, the management was kind of pressured in buying Chuckweze. And there was a lot of promise with Chuckweze, but we're seeing that his growth and development has been halted because either of the style of play, how we play, or rather the lack of style of play that we have. And I think that goes down to two things. I think it goes down to how Fonseca sets up the team and how the team is set up to be around Chuckweze. So I'm not sure if that's a Fonseca problem or a Chuckweze problem, but not really sure how that goes going forward. But honestly, I think at this moment, we're kind of, stuck with Chuckweze at this right wing, but I'm hoping in these next couple games, we have a couple easy fixtures going forward. So I'm hoping Chuckweze gets the best out of himself. And the last point I want to make before we get into tops and flops is the Fonseca criticisms. And these last couple games versus Genoa in the 125th anniversary game and against Hellas Verona, it's clear that there are no patterns of play. The offense is extremely unorganized. And at one point in this game versus Hellas Verona, we had 5 fullbacks on at one point in the match. Obviously with TIJJANI playing in the midfield, and not really sure how I felt about that. He didn't play bad, but he didn't, wow me. I think he had like one shot that kind of, challenged the Hellas Verona goalkeeper. But regardless of the fact is, I don't know how much longer Fonseca can ride with these current tactics. But Plus, these players do not want to play for him. They're not convinced at all. And it's clear that they are not convinced because of how their attitude is on the pitch to get involved. And for now, Fonseca lives to see another day. But come these next couple games, I think a lot of these fans are, I think all fans rather, are expecting wins in these next couple games because we play Como and then we play Roma and then, we play a lot of these easy teams to pick up 3 points. And at this point, we're not too far off of 4th place, but these next couple games are crucial for our race for top 4. And I don't know if Fonseca is the guy to kind of bring us there. And I don't know what more Fonseca needs to do to kind of get these players in the right mind space to play for them. But I think it also goes to show that because there's no patterns of play, it kind of reminds me of how we were playing in, that 2017, 2018, 2016 era of Milan, prime banter era where, those Montella teams and those type of teams, those Gattuso teams where there's no patterns of play. We would just go into games, pass to Suso, maybe he cuts in, scores a goal, or, he kind of crosses maybe. Pass the ball to El Shaarawy, you see if he can, kind of dribble off of 2 guys. Pass the ball to Baca, maybe he can get a goal or 2. But regardless of the fact is, I see that Milan team, and I see the exact same in this Milan team. And it's really unfortunate because, we started to see as fans this Milan team progress, and now we're starting to regress. And it's unfortunate to see because, at this point, this was a season to kind of turn the page, end the Pioli era. He brought us to the promised land, stabilize us into getting Champions League. And this was a season to kind of elevate us to get into those, conversations of always, winning the Scudetto. And now it seems we're so far away from that Scudetto conversation. And at this point, in the previous video, I said that our objective now this season is to get top 4. And it's a long stretch from there. There's a lot of teams in between those places from 8th place to 4th. But regardless of the fact is, Fonseca lives to see another day, and we'll see how long he can last. So let's go to tops and flops in this game versus Hellas Verona. Top for me, it's going to be TIJJANI Reijnders. I feel like he was so involved in this game, always asking for the ball, always receiving the ball, and always just letting the ball go at the perfect moments. Had some nice moments of dribbling. I think he got like 2 nutmegs or something like that, which is great to see. But honorable mention, Fofana as well. Defensive presence in the midfield. I said that these two are our focal point in the team. They're the heartbeat of this squad. And going forward, this is our bright spot in the team and in the season, really, because without these two, we are so screwed. And I'm hoping, with this injury bug kind of going away, knock on wood, I hope that these guys don't, catch that bug as well. So going forward, these two are sensational. And top of the match is TIJJANI Reijnders, honorable mention, Fofana. Flop of the match, it's got to be Chuckweze. Super underwhelming, not really doing anything going forward, always just crossing the ball. And it's kind of sad because, we saw glimpses of what Chuckweze can bring us, but we haven't really seen the form that he had under Villarreal at Milan at all in his whole Milan career. And it's unfortunate to see because he's such a dynamic player and we know what he can bring. And there's a player in there. We see glimpses of it every now and then, but there's just no consistencies. And in this game, he was flop of the match for sure. So let's preview our next game in the Serie A versus Roma. And Roma right now are on their knees right now. They are down bad, even worse than us. And at this point, versus Roma, who are on their knees, completely depleted, we have to take 3 points. We're in the San Siro for this one, and we're in 8th place right now, 5 points off of 4th place. And Fiorentina still, at the time of recording, needs to play. They play on Monday, and they have to play Juventus and Napoli in the next 2 games. So it's kind of crazy how with 1 win versus Genoa last week would have taken us 1 point above Juventus and 2 points behind 5th place Lazio. And these next games are so crucial to get us back on track to get in those Champions League spots. I think that'll do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys check out Classic Football Shirts. Use the code HOMEOFMilan10 at checkout to get 10% off of your purchase. Guys, get that special someone a nice little Christmas gift, and also get involved in the comment section below. What do you guys think about this Milan game? What do you think about these past Milan games? And going forward, what does this Milan team need to do to concrete themselves into that top 4 spot? So guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao ragazzi.